Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kate. I'm a wife and soon-to-be stay-at-home mom of two girls, Olivia and Eden, who are 3.5 and almost 15 months old. Today I'm going to be doing a follow-up from my last video, which was talking about how and why your 1-year-old should be helping with chores around the house. So I will put it up here in a card and also link that in the description box down below. If you haven't seen that yet and you have a 1-year-old, you might want to start there. If you have a slightly older toddler around 3.5, give or take, maybe 2.5, maybe 4.5, you might want to start here. So today's topic is going to be on how to get your older toddler to help around the house and why they should be. This is going to be rooted in Montessori to a large extent. I'm also going to touch on some biblical principles and just some parenting principles that I have come up with along the way. Not that it's original to me, but that me and my family have chosen to use. If you are a parent in the digital age like we are now, you have probably heard 20 or 30 or 40 different ways of raising your kids, dealing with consequences, dealing with just training them up. And it can get really overwhelming. Obviously, I'm not an authority on this, but I'm just sharing what works for our family in hopes that it will help you a little bit. If it does, great. If it doesn't, that is totally fine. I'm so glad that you're here. I often find for myself that it's helpful to just know different perspectives so that I can make my final decision with the wisdom that God has given us to raise our kids. So I hope that the same is true for you. If you are not already subscribed, I would so love if you would hit that subscribe button and stick around. Hit that thumbs up button as well if you like this sort of content. If you want to go ahead and hit it now, that would be awesome. If not, hit it at any point throughout the video where you hear something that you agree with or that you appreciate hearing. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in. So what does Montessori have to say about older toddlers and helping around the house? I'm gonna kind of pick up where I left off in the last video, which talks about how very young kids from like 12 months to 15 months and onward are trying to conquer their environment. They are trying to put forth maximum effort. They want to imitate you and they really want to be helpful. They want to do everything that you are doing. And so your child is meeting you halfway, or maybe even more than halfway, by the fact that they are eager and they want to imitate you. That starts to change a little bit as they get older, but I think that the seed of that is still there. And what is missing is training. Just because you see something that you want to imitate doesn't mean that you're going to be good at it or be successful at it. And so you want to train your child in the way in which they should do the things that they're already eager to do with you. For me, I don't know if it's just my child or if it's the way that we raised her using Montessori, etc. I tend to think that it's in every toddler at this age still. Like if I start cooking, she's like, I want to help. If I start watering the plants, I want to help. If I start planting new seeds, I want to help. She wants to do everything, but there are often times where she's not proficient in it and her help can be more of a nuisance than anything. And then it ends up in sort of frustration, which is not going to be conducive to her helping in the long run or wanting to help the next time necessarily. So it is better for you to be prepared on the front end and think through what you're going to have your child help with the next day. Obviously, this is an ideal scenario. You're not always going to have time to think through it. But when you can, Montessori says to be a prepared adult. Be ready. Think through the task. Think through the items that your child is going to need to help you. So if you are like, you know what, I really want to bake chocolate chip cookies with my child tomorrow. Think through what that's going to entail. What are the tools? Where are the spots that your child can help? Run through it yourself if you need to think about, where would my child fit in here and how can I help them? One example from baking that I've had to teach Olivia, because it's not something that naturally comes, even though she wants to imitate me, is how to level off a cup, like a measuring cup or a measuring spoon with spices and things like that, and not get it all over the counter. So, you know, she scoops a big scoop of turmeric or something and it's like heaping on the top. So I teach her to, you know, take her finger and level it off. Or if it's, you know, flour out of a bag, I teach her how to push it against the side of the bag and kind of use her hand on the outside to level it off, to check for levelness while it's inside the bag or inside the container of the spice container, so that when she goes to like swipe it off, it's not all over the counter. Accidents have happened, obviously, but now at this point, she's pretty proficient at leveling off cups and spoons. That's something you have to think through because your child is not going to naturally know to do that. So if you do the activity once yourself and just think thoughtfully about like, where is my child gonna fit into this and what might they not know that I naturally know and how can I teach it to them? That's gonna be really helpful in making the task a success and making them want to do it again the next time. When you're actually doing the task with them, Montessori has this acronym SHOW, and it's slow hands, omit words. So you really want to show them with your hands what you are doing. It could be something as simple as, hey, watch me. And then you're not gonna say anything else because you don't want them looking at your face and making eye contact and listening to your words and like giving more attention to your words than to your hands and what you're actually trying to show them. So after you say show me, you could even say look at my hands or watch my hands, or watch my whatever. You're probably going to be using your hands if it's a task. Watch my feet if for some reason you're doing something with your feet. And then just have them do it, and you can talk about it afterwards, or no, not have them do it. You do it and then you can talk about it afterwards, maybe do it again, and then you can have them try. You also, I think the last thing to make it sort of successful is you want to try to hone in on things that they're already interested in. Are they interested in yard work? Are they interested in gardening? Are they interested in laundry? Are they interested in sewing or something else that you're doing? Are they interested in things in the kitchen? Where is their interest? And start there. You don't have to do everything at once, and I wouldn't start, if your child is like, if you categorize them as like not that helpful around the house, I wouldn't start with things that they dislike the most. Try to start with things that they already show some interest in, get them to feel successful with it, teach them and train them how to do it, and then start to move on from there. I think once they start feeling helpful and seeing themselves as a helper, as someone who is capable and independent and able to do these grown-up things, they may want to start to do more around the house. So start with those things. Also, if you watch your child, which is another Montessori overarching principle, is to observe your child. Just sit back. Don't tell them what to do. Watch what they naturally do on their own. What are the things that they are trying to master? For me, this is a little easier to see in my 1-year-old. Like right now, she's trying to master going up and down steps. We have one ledge in our entire property outside. Like we don't have any steps down from like out the door. It's just level, and we have one little ledge, and she will step up and go down, step up and go down over and over and over again. She wants to master going up onto something and coming down. She does the same thing with the couch. With Olivia, it's a little bit harder to know what she's trying to master because what she's learning is a little more sophisticated than like going up and down stairs, but it's still there if I watch for it. And if I'm able to see, okay, she's really into drawing right now, or right now she's really into cutting, like super into cutting, maybe I can get her to cut some things like herbs in the kitchen or something like that. So if you pair it to their interest, that could be really helpful as well. Some ideas for you are food prep, cleaning things up, setting things up. That could be, it's like a huge category, like setting the table, setting up for company, setting something up outside, etc. Laundry, just cleaning in general, like dusting, mopping, wiping, things like that. Putting things back in place after a long day. And then also things like sewing, mending. I mean, my list is so small. I'm sure that you have many more things that your child can help with. So yeah, leave me a comment down below if you have anything else that your child helps with that I haven't mentioned, because I'd love some new ideas for Olivia as well. Okay, and now for some things that aren't quite 100% Montessori, but that we use. And the first thing I want to say is, like, biblically, our family knows that it says, you know, train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he is older, he will not turn from it. So it's not just enough to ask Olivia to do these things, but we actually want to train her. We want to show her how to do it properly and why. And I don't think that there's ever an age where a child does not deserve to hear the why. I know some people are like, oh, their brain is too undeveloped to understand, and I get that, but I still like to explain to Olivia why, and I have done that her whole life, and I am always shocked at how much she is able to comprehend. Obviously, she doesn't have an adult brain, she doesn't understand everything, but I think it is really important to give your child at least some sort of why. Like, why do we have to clean up the toys? Why do we have to do these things? And I've noticed her do it more. Like, for instance, if I'm like, we need to clean up the floor because you're about to dance or do gymnastics, and if you step on one of these toys, it's going to really hurt. it could be as simple as that. And she's much more motivated to clean up her toys when she knows, hey, I want this to be my dance floor, and so I need to clear it off, instead of just like, because I said so. So I do think it's really helpful in training up your child to provide a why behind whatever you are asking them to do. A lot of my whys for my child are biblical. So especially when I'm in the kitchen, like if she wants me to do something that I can't do at that moment, I'm like, hey, it is my job to cook for the family. I really enjoy giving you guys nourishing, healthy meals. I need to be in here and I need to be doing this right now. So if you want to spend time with me, you can help me in here. Something like that. And eventually she really does understand. So what if you've done all of that and you've tried to align to your child's interests, watch what they're trying to master, train them and all that, and they're still not doing it? I think natural consequences is a really great place to start if that is the case. I have made Olivia a chore chart, which I will link up here as well, and a video down below in the description box, because I've made a video on her chore chart. It has been really helpful. It's laminated so we can wipe it off every day and do it again. To be honest, I'm probably gonna do like a round 2, because we really only do the morning chore chart at this point. We don't really get to the afternoon one, so I'm just gonna make one of them and put everything that I want on the morning one. Because at night it's kind of more basic stuff, just like go to bed, stuff we're always gonna do anyway, whether or not it's on the chore chart. So the other day, I'll just give you an example. Olivia, again, has been into cutting. So she was at the dining room table and she cut a bunch of paper, and it was all over the place, all over the table and all over the floor. She wanted me to get out her paint, her watercolor paint, which is high enough that she can't reach it, and she wanted me to get it out. And she also was asking to go play with the little girl across the street who is the same age as her. So I told her she could do neither of those things unless she cleaned up her paper first. And I kind of left it at that. I didn't say you need to do it right now. I didn't get angry. I was just like, you need to clean up your paper before I'm gonna get you the watercolor, or before you can go play. She was like, but it's hard, but I don't want to. And I was like, yeah, I know. Sometimes I don't want to do things either, but I'm telling you that before you get the next task out, you have to clean that one up. You don't have to if you don't want to. That just means you're not going to get paint and you're not going to go to your friend's house. To me, I feel like that's a natural consequence, where it's like, you have done this one activity, that's great. If you want another activity, you need to clean the other one up first. I'm not angry about it. I'm not mad about it. I'm not yelling at you. I'm not even telling you to do it right now. It's just, if you want to do something else, you got to do it. And so eventually she's like sitting at the kitchen counter with me, and then she goes in there and she just gathers up all the paper and comes in. She's like, I did it. I got as many as I could, and I'm putting them in the garbage can. She throws them all away. She goes back and gets the rest of them, and she's like, I'm done. I was like, wonderful. It took about 5 minutes of her own to kind of work through the fact that this is hard. I don't want to do this, but I have to do it if I want something else. Mom's not mad at me. She's just kind of telling me how it is. And she eventually got up and did it. So that's wonderful. If she decided not to do it, she would have just had a boring day, because I wasn't gonna get her any more activities and I wasn't gonna let her play with anybody. I think eventually, if she hadn't decided on her own, I would have sat her down and been like, hey, I know you want to do these other things. Do you need me to help you clean up with you? You need to do it, but I will help you. And like, I would have found a way to encourage her to do it had she not done it on her own. So if you're working with something like that where they're very resistant, I would say giving a natural consequence, trying not to get angry about it, but just helping them to make the decision on their own. Hey, I actually want to clean this up because I do want to do something else. In general, she is not allowed to get her like screen time, which she watches Guess How Much I Love You for about a half hour every day when Eden naps, which is what she's doing right now while I'm taping. She's not allowed to get that, or she's not allowed to get her bedtime treat if chores haven't been done, or I've asked her to do something that's not done on the chore chart. So that's a natural consequence for our family. You could figure out what that looks like for your family. In general, I would say if your child is really struggling with doing chores, I would say a chore chart is really helpful. Make it visual, make it something that they can check off and be excited about. Give them natural consequences, and then give it time. Let it simmer a little bit. Stick to your guns. You know, don't threaten them with something that's not gonna happen. If you're like, if you don't do this, you know, you're never gonna do that, you're never gonna watch TV again. Like, you know, you're probably gonna give in, that's a threat, right? But give a natural consequence and then stick to it. So if you say something like, until you clean this up, I'm not gonna give you this, really don't give it to them. And make it something you know you're gonna stick to, because then they'll know you're serious. And as much as possible, try not to let your emotions get into it. Just state the fact of what needs to get done. Throw in a why. I always love a why. And then just see how it plays out. Remember, our children are broken in the same way that we are. They don't always want to do everything that they're supposed to do. I don't want to always do everything that I'm supposed to do, so give them some grace as well. I hope this is helpful. If you guys have any other tips on how to get your toddler involved in cleaning and helping around the house, please drop them down below. Like this video if you haven't already. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.